You're about to rename a column. Somewhere downstream, your CFO's dashboard is built on it, and you won't know that until you get a call on Monday morning. This query shows you every dependent asset before you touch a thing. We've all watched data engineers spend 20 minutes manually tracing downstream dependencies before a rename, opening asset profiles one by one, checking what's connected, trying to judge what's critical. They're not being careless, they just don't have a way to see all of it at once. The ones who missed a branch or ran out of time and took the risk are the ones who get that Monday morning call. With this query, they wouldn't have. Most data teams learn about downstream breakages the wrong way. A Slack message from a frustrated analyst, a missed report during a board call, a panic ticket at 5 p.m. The impact was always understandable, though, in advance. The problem is that knowing it required a kind of visibility most teams simply didn't have. In this walkthrough, we're going to run a proactive impact analysis using the Metadata Lakehouse, starting with what we can see in the UI, and then running the SQL queries that give us the complete picture, every downstream dependency, every owner, before we deploy. Let's start in Atlan. We'll navigate to the source table we're planning to change and open the Lineage graph. From here, we can click on the Expand All option to the right to view all downstream assets in the UI. We can also click View Impact from the top right dropdown, opening a flat list of every downstream asset in a single panel. This is a genuinely useful starting point, but notice the limitation. We're working on one asset at a time. The list can get long and hard to act on, and there's no way to filter it down to just BI dashboards or immediately sort by owner or export it with the specific fields we want. That's where the Metadata Lakehouse comes in. Here's the real gap. The Lineage graph shows you the topology. The Metadata Lakehouse gives you the contact list. When we're trying to coordinate a deployment across 6 teams and a dozen dashboards, knowing who to call and alert is as important as knowing what breaks. In our SQL editor, we can build an impact analysis query against the Metadata Lakehouse. When we run it, we get back a full picture of downstream dependencies. We just need to provide the identifier for the source asset we're changing. We run the query and take a look at what comes back. One field tells us how many hops downstream each asset is. 1 means it depends directly on our source, 2 means it depends on something that depends on our source, and so on. Another field does the prioritization for us. Direct dependencies are high priority, secondary are medium, anything further out is low. And the last thing worth calling out, we get owner information for every asset in that result set. That's our contact list for every conversation we need to have before this ships. Now, let's go one step further. Not all downstream assets carry the same business risk. A table 2 hops away is a different conversation than the dashboard our CFO opens on Monday morning. We can customize our query to narrow down to only dashboards surfacing our stakeholders. We can use this when we want to scope our pre-deployment review to the business-facing surfaces that will be noticed immediately if something breaks. This version adds a severity rating, color-coded. Red for direct dependencies that will break immediately, yellow for indirect assets that may break through an intermediate step, and green for more distant dependencies that are lower risk but still worth monitoring. It also gives us a recommended action for each. Update dashboard queries before deployment, test after, or just monitor post-deployment. These aren't just labels. They're the 3 conversations we need to have with 3 groups of stakeholders, automatically prioritized for us. And with that, we have the complete pre-deployment picture. Every asset, every owner, every conversation ranked by how urgent it needs to be. We now have 2 tools for proactive impact analysis. The Lineage graph for quick visual orientation and understanding, and the Metadata Lakehouse queries for the complete picture. Every downstream asset, every owner ranked by how urgently they need to hear from us before we deploy. That's the difference between coordinating a change and causing an incident. If you want to run that same kind of analysis upstream, tracing the root cause when something has already broken, the root cause analysis walkthrough covers exactly that. It's linked right here.